Learning English with English Faculties.
All right, so welcome back to your next session. And the last session, we wrote this essay that, in fact, you wrote, and we had mistakes on that. And let's see, you have rewritten this, right? Same essay, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Some people think that poverty is the reason behind most crimes. Do you agree or disagree? Mhm. Okay, how did you start your sentence with?
Number of people.
Oh,
Hello, sir.
yes. Number of people. What is this?
Contend.
Contend that most crimes. Okay, where did you take this so-called assistance from?
Sir,
STEM,
there is no assistant. Oh, STEM
STEM.
we were taught in school during bio and psychology.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll take it.
that most
Number of people
disorders.
contend
And
that. Mhm.
contend I took from the paraphrase that you taught me.
Okay. Number of people contend that crimes stem from poverty. This essay completely agrees, since financial hardships often push people towards illegal activities. Okay. Well, this is good. Due to desperation for survival. Okay. Criminal behavior can also be a result of lack of education and employment, spelling mistake, opportunities. Hmm. Mm. Hmm. Okay. All right. So this is one and this is two. Okay. Where did you start with firstly? The struggle for survival forms a link between poverty and crime. When basic necessities like food, water, shelter, and clothing are not met, people often resort to impulsive action, including theft. The survival instinct becomes more than the care for
The care for legal
legal
consequences.
consequences. For instance, if a child is suffering from a critical condition and the parents who are not able, wrong sentence, parents are not, parents who, parents are not, who is not required. Parents are not able to support, able or afford would have been a better word, to support the medical bills, comma, may look for
Even more
alternative
helps.
methods like robbery for saving their child. Mm,
Sir, over here, the last sentence, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to write saving their child or robbery for their
medicine,
child's
medical
well-being.
bills. I think it's medical bills because they're doing it for the medical bills, so it should be, you know,
So can we say
alternative.
robbery for their child's well-being?
Mm-hmm. You can say that. In addition, poor communities often suffer from low educational and employment opportunity. What kind of a suffering is that? It is not a suffering, it is opportunity, I would say.
Right.
Lesser, opportunities for a proper education and employment. I wrote an opportunity in here, which eventually leads to the youngsters to turn to commit crimes, which is done only to support their families as well as themselves. Without access to well-paying, stable job in rural areas, many gang activities or drug dealers have been arrested. These actions are a result of high paid salaries. Understand this?
So is high paid salaries the wrong term?
Mhm. But before I go there, I just need to struggle make roads or not, but people offended.
Sir, I'm unable to understand you. Your voice is
No,
muffled.
I'm just mumbling. I'm just trying to weave it on my own and see. There's
Okay.
something that doesn't fit in here. Just trying to
Oh, okay.
pinpoint what that is.
So,
So the
so
government
even my
basically.
father told me that instead of support the medical bills, I should have written afford, but I had already sent it to you.
Uh-huh. Survival instinct becomes more than the care for legal consequences. Survival instinct. See, the word survival instinct becomes more than the care for. See, this is a very typical um, Asian usage. It is a transliteration of the word more. Okay. Um,
Okay.
you should try to write this line in a different, in a different tone. This
Okay.
one, this one.
Okay.
Um, that could be. The struggle for survival forms a link between poverty and crime. When basic necessities like food, water, shelter, and clothing are not met, people often resort to impulsive actions, including theft. The survival instinct, I would have said, the survival instinct becomes a priority than legal consequences. Survival instinct becomes more um, important. I cannot say important, but I can say um, survival instinct becomes more overriding. Have you heard the word overriding?
Well,
Hmm?
more
Overriding.
over writing.
Have you heard the word
Okay.
overriding?
So I've heard overweigh. I'm
Yeah,
hearing
overriding.
overriding for the question.
Overriding is. Um,
So
you
is
can
it
also
like
use the
overruled?
word, yeah, foremost. There's also one word that you can probably use.
Okay. So it's like overruled.
Yeah, overrule, overriding. It becomes more
Okay.
overriding. It becomes more important than legal consequences.
Okay.
Mm, for instance, if a child is suffering from a critical condition and the parents who are not able to afford the medical bills may look for alternative methods like robbery for saving their life, the child. Um, what else can you think as an example for this? You're talking about uh, survival instinct becomes, you know, you can say that, a person who is um, hungry for a couple of days might not think about the consequences of stealing food. But that sounds
Yes, sir.
more direct, right? Rather than a
Yes, sir.
parent being worried about the child, and for the child, they will do that. An example which connects instantly to the reader based on what you have written. You have written that the survival instinct becomes overriding than legal consequences, right? So you're saying that survival instinct becomes more predominant or more um, paramount, right? Or cardinal, more important
Right.
or crucial, right? So, or dominant, survival skill becomes more dominant than, legal consequences. So, I mean, you can connect it to something like, if you're hungry for a couple of days and you don't have anything to eat, your survival instinct will be more heavy on you or more riding you, more pressurizing you than to think about the legal consequences of breaking into a hotel or breaking into a food store. Right? As you would say, okay,
Right.
fine. If I'm eating it, let me eat, and then I will see what it is. Now, although the essay looks right, but remember the topic was that some people believe that poverty is the reason for most of the crimes. So we should have connected a little bit more towards poverty, then
Right.
people don't have money, people don't have things. So it's okay. I mean, you're still learning to write, so I'm not emphasizing so much on the point. It's okay, but you will have to refine it um, as you go further. In addition, poor communities often suffer from low educational and employment. It is definitely not suffer. Low educational and employment opportunities. Mm. Should it not be lack of education?
Right. But I didn't want to repeat, so that's why I wrote low education
Where is that you repeated lack?
in the first paragraph. Lack of
Mhm.
education and employment opportunities.
Okay. Mhm. Which eventually leads to, oh, to, which eventually
The
leads to the
right.
youngsters to turn. So how many twos are there in this one sentence? Which eventually leads youngsters to the path of crime, towards the path, leads towards the path of crime.
Actually, leads
And then you don't require
me.
this, which is done
Okay.
only that you don't require this, which eventually leads youngsters towards crime, towards crime, to support their families as well as themselves. See, now it makes more sense. If you read it from here, which eventually,
Yes,
can
sir.
you read it? Which eventually,
Yes. which eventually leads the youngsters
No,
to the
da is
path
not
of
required. Da
crime.
is not required. Which eventually,
Leads to youngsters
no, two
leads
is not required.
youngsters to the path of crime.
No, two is not required. Commit is not
Which
required.
leads youngsters towards crimes
Yeah.
to support their families as well as themselves.
Mm. Right. So this is the only two that we are using. We have eliminated everything else. We have simplified the sentence, given it more essence, make it sound good. And this is what you do. What you're doing is a very common colloquial way of saying, and it's a lot common when we speak things. But academically, you cannot write like that. It looks like more colloquial, a lot like Indian colloquial way of saying things, which eventually, because when you're writing, all you need, which eventually leads, or which eventually, instead of leads, you can say, you can say forces, but you can say guides, right? You can say guides, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
guides is something that you can use, which eventually guides, or you can also say pushes, right? Really guides youngsters, which eventually pushes. Uh,
But I
pushes
already
would.
wrote pushes in the first paragraph. I think
Um,
first or second paragraph.
mm, I'm going to use shoves, shove. And that I
Sure.
wanted to use the word shoves because it is a rather, uh, you know, forceful event. It's not that everybody wants to go into that path, but since you don't have an option to do anything else, you're being shoved, you're being pushed. All right. So, which eventually shoves youngsters towards crime to support their families as well as themselves. So, if you write support themselves and their families, what is the difference? Can you tell
Now,
me any
first
difference?
that they're supporting themselves and then their families.
Okay, so how would you write that?
To support themselves as well as their families. Like in literal meaning, first one needs to have money for themselves, then only they can go and help their families or anyone close to them. So themselves would come first.
Uh, Now, the sentence might uh, give the right idea what you're trying to say, but aesthetically, that sentence is not right. Right? It should be support instead of support themselves and their families sound, better, or support both their families and themselves sounds better. But if I was writing, I would have written that, to support to support themselves and their families, because you support first yourself and then your families. Without access to well-paying, without access to well-paying, stable jobs,
People talk.
in rural areas. Many gang activities or daily drug dealers are being arrested. Where did you get this from? Where did
I
you get
just
this
wrote
from?
it. So I
It
just wrote
doesn't
it.
fit in there. You're talking about them not being able to get good jobs because they're not educated and they do not have employment. And then without
Right.
access to well-paying, stable jobs in rural areas, what was there for gang activities in there?
I I mean, if people don't have proper jobs, they tend to do these kind of activities to earn because they have more money.
Mm, but you are ending the sentence with saying that, to support themselves and their families, right? There should be a
Right,
continuity from
right,
here, right? Hmm.
right, right. I just thought that because without normal jobs, people would still want to find ways to earn, whether they're alone or whether they have someone to support. So if they find different ways of earning, that can include, like in areas, can include these kind of activities because this includes more money.
Okay, in that case, you could have written that, being a part of local gang gives them a sense of
Right.
security and money,
Right.
right? So being a
Okay.
part of the local gang gives them a sense of security and the financial stability they look for. Or you can say
Okay.
being the part of the local gang or being a part of any criminal activity is the only support and is the only support they can avail and the financial freedom that they want.
Sir, could you write those points?
That is a difficult thing. I'll try. Uh, being part of the local uh, gang and criminal activity is hence the only support they can mm, depend on and 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 the source of financial freedom the financial freedom that
Got it.
freedom being a part of the local gang and criminal activities is the only support they can depend on and the source of financial freedom. Mm, I did say a sentence in here. I forgot. It slipped out of my mind. Mm, financial freedom. So let's say we say appreciated financial freedom, right?
Yes.
This is much better, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so where is the conclusion?
So next page.
So the next page. Okay. Okay, in conclusion, it can be said that poverty is the driving force for most illegal acts or activities.
Ah, I don't want to repeat activities, so I took acts from action.
Okay. In combination of the desperate survival and conclusion to say poverty is the driving force, most illegal act in combination of the desperate survival need and the lack of education and employment opportunity makes individual to have a criminal behavior.
So it seems incomplete, but I didn't know what else to write.